everyone, and welcome to the City of Daly City Planning Commission meeting of December 3rd, 2019. Let us stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Villanueva?
Here.
Satori?
Yes.
Pacheco?
Here.
Crump is absent. Proano?
Here. Very good, thank you. Now for the minutes of the November 6th meeting of 2019, I'd like to have a motion to approve.
So moved. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, here we go. So it is accepted and approved. And now we have public hearing. We've been receiving cards. If there are any more, you can bring them, I guess they can bring them up as we're going if they want to and give it to Michael. Would that be okay, Michael? Okay, very good. So I'm going to pass this over to Michael, Planning Manager.
First item.
I'm sorry, that's right, I need to say what that is. Okay, the first item, use permit, UPR 619-14071, and design review for DR 1119-14321. Modification to use a permit allowing increased school enrollment and construction of 3 new buildings for classroom and support space, APN 003-401-010 and 030. Michael.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. I'm going to apologize. We do not have monitors tonight, so we're going to deliver our staff report sort of the old-fashioned way. Again, this is a use permit request by Hilldale School. John Sittner is the owner of the school, and he is here tonight to answer any questions the Planning Commission may have. But essentially, this is a request, and the second request in almost a year. In 2018, the school was approved to increase the enrollment from 119 students to 150 students, and the applicant is now requesting to increase the enrollment from 150 to 210 students. The proposal is sort of piggybacks on the previous approval in 2018, where the applicant received approval to extend the Thier Street right-of-way, so that would be paved and would become a portion of public parking as well as a turnaround that served the school. At that time, the enrollment increase from the 119 to 150 required the addition of 6 parking spaces, and those were proposed in a tuck-under carport, and you can building, and you can see that in attachment D to your staff report if you'd like to try and turn to that. The attachment shows the 6 parking spaces at the turnaround. The increased enrollment proposal now from 150 to 210, based on the zoning ordinance requirement of 1 parking space per full-time equivalent employee and 1 parking space per 10 students, requires the addition of 6 parking spaces. And so the applicant is essentially proposing to double the carport capacity, if you will, from 6 to 12. The previous approvals of classroom space would still stand and would actually be reapproved by the Planning Commission and City Council if the bodies desire to approve them. And so the school expansion would be able to continue as proposed. The overhead that we would have shown you showed sort of the architectural qualities of the buildings that were previously approved and would continue to be incorporated into the proposed school design. The carport building replaces an existing classroom space, and the building essentially looks, and the drawings of how it looks are actually shown also in attachment B, and essentially appears to have the same architectural qualities as the previously approved buildings. One of the things we highlighted in the staff report is that the applicant has ramped up the student enrollment in advance of actually constructing facilities, and this is a concern to us. We had had a conversation with Mr. Sittner about the need to actually get the parking that's required for the enrollment increase underway, and he actually does have plans in plan check, and they're well into plan check. So construction drawings actually have been submitted to the city, and we do have faith that the carport and the classroom facilities that have been previously approved will be constructed. We have some concern about allowing an even additional increase on top of that. And so what we've communicated to Mr. Sittner is that he needs to notify, and this is in the conditions of approval, all the parents in the school that would be affected by the potential if the city had to, say, revoke the use permit due to the lack of the construction of the carport structure, the expanded carport structure, and the Thier Street extension. If that was to become a problem, we want the parents of the school to know that, enrollment at the school would be impacted, and so we did make that a condition of approval. So that's something the Planning Commission should be aware of. Also worthy of note is that a traffic study was prepared for the project. Even though the project's exempt from CEQA, the engineering division of the Public Works Department did require a traffic analysis. And there were some key findings, and we had a slide on this, and we can just tell you essentially what they are, is that the vehicle queue, that is the cars that are waiting to drop off students at the Hilldale School in the morning and pick them up, of course, in the afternoon, is actually improved by the proposed project. The proposed enrollment and the capacity does not change that. It's still an improvement. One of the things the study recommends, and we would recommend adding as a condition of approval, even on top of the ones that already exist, is that that parents not be allowed, to the extent the school can control that, to park in the angled parking spaces that would be constructed in the Thier Street right-of-way, because we don't want the parents backing into the queue, into the line of cars that are dropping off students. And so that's something that we do need to add as a condition of approval. But overall, the traffic study found that the proposal, the increase that is from the specifically 150 to the 210, did not impact negatively the traffic conditions in the area. All of the area intersections remain at level of service C, actually, or better. And the traffic study did make some recommendations, and that was one of them. Another one of the recommendations was increasing the drop-off area, and that's actually part of the proposal. Public Works Department has added a condition of approval requiring the installation of a fence-type, gate-type mechanism where the staff would use the carport spaces, again, in attachment B. Those would fill, the gate would close, and now we have a longer drop-off area. So the drop-off area is valet right now. It's staffed by, I think it's mostly students, possibly some staff, and that would continue in the future. So we do anticipate, and the traffic study anticipated a very efficient drop-off. And that's part of the reason why we are recommending the applicant be allowed to go ahead with the increased enrollment. So that's essentially our presentation. This is, of course, a recommendation to the full City Council, and the staff's available to answer any questions you may have, as well as Mr. Sittner is also present.
Okay. So may I speak first? I do recall, I'm sorry, Mr. Sittner. I remember the meeting well that we had the last time where you were here and we asked you questions. I will say that my concern is to a couple letters that we received. It indicates that two different households that live on Thiers, right? Thiers
Yes.
Street, both had concerns with regards to parking. And I'm trying to understand their concerns. It seems that separately, they wrote letters, and both were concerned about a dirt road that they would park in the evening. And having problems with staff telling them they're illegally parked and going through all this. We never want your neighbors to be too upset. It's no fun, right? So I'm trying to understand, can you give me a little
Absolutely.
insight?
The intersection of Thiers and Florence looks like it's a finished road, but Thiers actually continues on, and if in the site plan, you can see where Thiers extends. Right now, that's dirt, and it continues on past the south side of the school and up to the city reservoir and the 2 vacant parcels of land. We have installed some posts with signs that say reserved and have a teacher's name on them. And we've done this in order to try to eliminate having parents park in the south part of the dirt area during the day. Because if a parent comes in and parks in the morning to drop their child off, teacher comes in, now that spot's full, that teacher now has to go out and park all day on the street. So we put these up, and we have not made it clear, and it's our failing. We should have said, we should have some sort of a sign that's indicating that's only during school hours, and this is a courtesy. It's a public road. We don't make any bones about that, but we do have some parents that didn't understand that. We've sent a letter out to clarify that, but that's an ongoing issue to keep them aware that this is not property that belongs to Hilldale. But you look at the signs that say reserved for such and such a teacher, and it's easy to misunderstand that. We've done it with the best intention of keeping the teachers from being forced to park on the street, where then they take a spot all day long that would otherwise be a parent pulling in for a few minutes and then leaving, and then it's empty. I think the neighbors really just want to mostly have access to it and know that it's theirs, it belongs to the city in the evenings and on the weekends, and they should be able to use that and not feel like they're intruding on the city, because they're not. On the school, because it belongs to the city. And we'll make that correction this week with those signs, that, ask, as a courtesy on this public street to, make this available to the teachers at that time. Because I think it is productive for the teachers to be using that now until we get this construction done. Now, as I mentioned last year also, our goal is to move our traffic and our drop-off away from that intersection and back to the east. And I think that since we will be able, with this final, with this turnaround, to handle a queue of 15 cars, including the drop-off, where right now the maximum that we have, the traffic study said, I think 7. The most that I've seen is 10, but that extends almost down to Wyandotte. So we'll get those off by getting them into this improved area, but it's, during our high impact time, which is 15 or 20 minutes in the morning from 8:15 to 8:30, is a real challenge. And I wish I could say that every parent was courteous and obeying the traffic laws. We will try to step it up on our end to help reinforce that we're neighbors, and if they're not good neighbors to share the space, we're not doing our job.
Sure. So one of the letters saying that they were told by staff.
It was actually a parent, but as I understand it.
You've seen these letters? Have you, he's seen these letters?
Right.
Okay.
The gentleman that wrote the letter is a former parent and had 2 children that attended the school, and we're on very good terms, and, I look forward to being able to, work with all of the neighbors to, see that, frankly, that we're doing a better job communicating to the parents.
Pardon me. And
if you're late, it doesn't,
No, I understand. My other question is, and I'm sorry, because people aren't here, but they did do a letter, and, when I look at one letter, then you it's a concern, but it's not really one person. If someone writes a letter, this letter equals to many, many people.
And that's true.
Right, and it's two people that live on the block. And my concern, there's twofold. Number one, for people to go as far as calling someone's employer, that's a concern. You know, that's a concern because I'm looking at land that belongs to the city. So, you know, that's a concern. But the other concern is if right now, and we're not done with the increased parking on all these steps that when we talked about it the last meeting, we spoke about it and we approved it. We thought this would be great. But if everything isn't in place and then you're increasing enrollment as we speak, then it's twofold. Biggest concern is that it's going to grow into a bigger problem for the residents who live there. So I don't want that to happen, and you don't want to have neighbors that are unhappy with you either. So are you going to be backing off on that until?
Well, frankly, we're expecting that we're going to be starting construction this spring. So we have not increased enrollment. We dropped our pre-K in order to not go up. We have a real challenge because there's a long lead time. And we had our initial increase in enrollment approved in 2016. We thought we were going to be able to get that done. And as grades moved up and we've been faced with a situation of, do we discontinue having a kindergarten, which then flows all the way through for 8 more years, or do we struggle, you know, with this? And, you know, we have never hidden the fact that we're over and we're moving as diligently as we can to have a design and to have everything working, but it has been a challenge, and we've created additional pressure on the neighborhood as a result. And I think all of the neighbors on the south side of Thiers are impacted, and I am anxious to be able to move things east and be out of their way.
Does anyone else?
Madam Chairman, just for clarification, is their street a public road? Is
It's
it a public?
absolutely public road.
So, do you have the right to tell those people living there not to park in front of the street?
Absolutely we don't. I mean, it's
Because I received
It's
a letter here
outrageous.
saying that you reprimanded the person by the name of Jose Carino. Is that true?
I am sure that Mr. Carino has accurately reflected what happened, and that a representative of the school, whether that was a staff or a parent, was not correct, and they created a problem.
Why
and
is it not correct? In what way?
It was illegal. I mean, they were telling.
It is a public road. How can you say illegal?
Yeah, I mean, what we told.
When it's a public road, everybody can use it.
Absolutely. That's
And you have no
absolutely-
right to reprimand or to say something about their parking behavior. Okay?
Absolutely.
So that's very clear.
May I just say, and I just a thought, because the signs are on, I think those signs, I understand what you're trying to do by posting those signs on city property.
They create confusion.
Total. And in fact, I think that they should not be there unless you have an agreement with the city. That's my own personal opinion, because if I was a parent or whoever's the person, your employee or whoever it is who spoke to these neighbors, they're going by the signs. They see the signs. Those signs are for the teacher, but in reality, and it sounds like you did it out of the best intentions to kind of make things easier, but it impacted this issue. So, I mean, I'm going to put it to our city people here, but those signs, as much as I believe you were trying to make it easier so the teachers have somewhere to park, by doing that, I'm just saying it would have been better to work through the city.
Created confusion.
Yes.
And that, I think, is what led to the problem. I'm certainly happy to take them down and to work with transportation and planning, however they would, whatever we can do to make things work best. We were taking a shot at it. We didn't coordinate it with the city, and we should have.
Madam Chairman, one more thing. Is Mr. Carino here? Oh, there you go. Okay,
Very
that's
good.
okay. Now, you could probably have a win-win situation here probably by in the morning and afternoon. Your staff can probably park there. But in the evening, let the residents park in that place.
Absolutely.
Because, well, you're saying absolutely, but the moment we turn our back here, probably you will be telling something else. We
Well-
don't know.
None of the administration have ever said, that's our property and you can't park there. Our signs have only been
That's why I'm saying
intended.
you can make a tacit agreement with the residents that probably in the daytime, teachers, students can park on that, but in the evening, let them park also.
I totally agree. Whatever way facilitates that the best. And that will be the case after Thiers is improved as well, because then there will be improved parking there. And, it's public right away.
Yeah, but Madam Chairman, in any place, not here also in Daly City, but all over the world, when there is development or improvement, traffic and parking is always the main issue. So the main point here is, if the residents and the schools can get together and have a meeting once in a while, you can have some sort of agreement that you can have this, but you cannot take it all. Probably the residents can take it in the evening, and in the morning and afternoon, the schools can take it.
And we
It's a win-win situation.
May I, Michael, if you don't mind, I hate to put something in your hands, but if we're good, and what we want to be is good neighbors,
Yes,
right?
that's
So
right.
if we're trying to be good neighbors, might I suggest something? And that is, if we're going to have any sort of signage, any sort, that it be very clear, and that, trying to be courteous to everyone, that possibly, and I don't know if we can do this on city, belongs to the city, right? City land, that it be a very clear type of sign, if a sign at all, that states very clearly, school hours, and that way, nothing like these two letters happen. Now, one letter, by the way, is more of that issue. The other letter seems to be more that there's so many cars on this road that they have a hard time getting out of their garage and getting to work. That's a concern. I know that whatever we're doing here and talking about it, that hopefully will alleviate that. But what can we do to make sure this is not happening? Because if it's happening to one person, it's got to be happening to more people.
Is your question, what can the Planning Commission do to reduce the amount of vehicle trips? Because I think that's the essence of the letter writer's complaint, is that they're having trouble backing in.
Well, I mean, there's got to be a way that maybe cars, I don't know, move quickly because these people need to get out of their garage. I mean,
Right. Well, the traffic analysis that was prepared for the extension of Thiers right-of-way and the improvement to the turnaround and the drop-off indicated that the headway for drop-offs occurring would continue to be as it is right now, if not improved. So there should be an efficiency created through the improved drop-off area that would occur in the construction of the Thiers extension. So it's kind of hard to tell that that's guaranteed to happen, but in essence, that's the best answer we can really offer.
so from where the school is and where the part of the street, I don't know how many feet is impacted, could there be, you have a cross guard, or you have people assisting, getting the kids in and out? Is there one more staff person during this particular time where if there's an issue where someone needs to get out, that they stop cars, I'm sure, and letting somebody out, so assisting the neighborhood?
Well, it's a fair distance down the road, but yes, I mean, I think it's probably not very common, but if we need to do that, especially in the interim between now and when we are finished with construction, we can certainly do that.
Okay.
So the so the cars are not queuing in front of the park.
Exactly.
in
So
front
if
of the
somebody
driveways.
sees something, their job is to kind of go, wait a second, let them out, and keep
I
it
would just
moving.
caution that Mr. Sintner can't stop traffic in a public street. So,
Yeah.
even,
Okay.
an employee of his can't do that.
Okay, so
that-
then-
That's what the directive is.
Exactly.
And
I see.
Only a
Only a,
police officer.
so we'd
probably
have to ask for a policeman to go up every
Right,
day. I don't
which we're
think
not,
that's going
that's
to work.
infeasible, right?
Yeah,
So,
no,
not going
no.
to do that. So,
I don't know.
yeah, it's kind of a
Or let
predicament.
your, how about this, make it easier. Let the parents know that when they're going, to please be courteous for the neighborhood and let if they're seeing someone trying to back out,
That's right.
give them a break.
That already went out today.
Oh, great, perfect,
And so, I
perfect.
mean, I wish we were further ahead on this. I thought that the cars were not ever queuing down
Sure.
that far. But they are occasionally, and that's creating a disruption. And so we'll try to figure out how we can avoid that
Appreciate
between now and 15 months from now when we'll move into the new facility, if we're approved.
Yes.
And another issue, Madam Chairman, is probably just to resolve these issues, you can probably have a volunteer manning the traffic, especially during critical time, like from 7 to 8, and then 11 to 1, and then some sort of volunteer that they can probably help the street to be properly and orderly, so there is no complaint. There's from both sides, especially drop off, turning off, left side. A volunteer can help it.
And one of the things that I will see that we also get done this week is we'll distribute to all of the neighbors on Thiers and Florence another copy of our phone number, so if they've got any issues, to call us so that we can both get them logged for our benefit and the city's, but we can then address the problem. So the next time that I see you, I can tell you exactly how many times we've had an indication
Okay.
and what we've done about it.
Okay, perfect. And may I just ask Mr. Carino, do you feel that we've addressed your issue, sir? It's good to see you again. You were here at the last meeting. Yes, sir. Oh, 1 second, may I know, if you don't mind, just real quick, I just want to make sure that they don't get another letter if you, that you feel we've taken
Yes,
care
it
of.
was, it's basically, it was answered. The only thing that I want to clarify is, early this morning, that's the reason why I wrote this letter, because the fact that I was going out of my garage, and then this person did not stop on the stop sign on Wyandotte, make a Hollywood stop, and then went around me to go up the hill and drop their kid off. And that's really, I was really on the middle of the road already. on
With the
street.
child in the car.
And then with the child in the car. And that's that's one reason why I did what I had to do, is to write a letter. It's because for me, it was very dangerous for me to just, just moving around me, then go upstairs.
Yeah.
That is very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And if we add another 60 cars, that's 120 cars a day. I'm getting old. I can't just back up just like that.
Sure.
We've been there 37 years. So it's basically, we will be there and we will be affected.
Can
And
I
of
ask
course,
Mr.
our neighbor
Carino a
had to.
question? Do you have a homeowners association in your area?
We used to have it, the Hilldale Homeowners Association, but apparently we don't have it anymore.
Because if you have it, you can probably have a constant dialogue with the schools that all of you can be happy with that kind of arrangement.
Yeah, we used to have that, but apparently it was closed. But I know John, my two daughters graduated at Hilldale,
Yeah.
and we have a good relationship with him. The problem is that really is the traffic. And I was wondering, what can we do to mitigate that issue? John have told me about the parking, which is fine. We can basically we'll work with them. Our neighbors really were concerned also. I'm the only one that's here because they're working. And they told me what it is. So,
Well, I'm hoping, what I hear is that a letter went out to the parents and reiterating the danger. I assume that would be transmitted to them as well, and hopefully that you see a difference.
We just hope so.
yes.
Otherwise, I'll be back here again next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're more
you.
than welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, did anyone else have any questions?
That's an example of the last.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I guess going back to the signage of the public road, is that something that us as commissioners would suggest, like, put in a motion to add as a condition for approval to?
It's not their land, it's the city land. And because of that,
We'll do that later.
I mean, we're going to leave it in Michael's capable hands and Tatum's, I'm guessing. If it was their land and we said, we want you to do X, Y, Z, then we could ask that. Is that correct? But it's not their land, it's your land, or our land.
The Thiers extension or the public right of way?
The road, the public road.
City right of way.
Dirtway, yeah. And so, because it's not his, then I'm putting it in Michael's hands. But that was good.
Okay.
How about you, sir?
Well, Madam Chairman, the concerns have been already addressed.
Very good.
I was wondering about the public, the dirt road itself, if that was city or if it was owned privately.
City
but
right of way. It'll be
city.
improved as a
It'll be
public.
improved, okay.
Okay.
Well,
so-
thank you.
Okay,
That
thank
was
you.
my concern.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Back to what we were doing. We're okay with what we just heard. I think you're good. Michael, what is our next step? Should we close the public hearing at this point? It's closed.
Somebody wants to talk?
Oh, is anyone else want to speak before we close it? Okay,
Otherwise-
so we're good. So we're going to close the public hearing. Can I actually have a motion and a vote?
So moved.
Second.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's done. So we recommend, well, let me read this before I read it out loud. Okay, so we recommend that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council the following recommendations. Actually, with clarification that nothing, no more enrollment until all this it's not going to go up until this starts.
Well, the proposal is that they would be allowed to increase to 210 with the condition of approval that they notify parents that the city could revoke the use permit, and that would not allow the continued enrollment of students, essentially. If the city did that, that's essentially where we're at this point. There were a couple of conditions of approval that we had discussed, and that the school communicate to parents that they not use the angled parking spaces in the Thiers Street extension to back into the vehicle queue. And I think that we also need to add a condition of approval requiring that any signs that the schools installed in the public right-of-way receive the proper permits from the city, or encroachment permit, essentially. Because, we can't have the school installing signs. But yes, to answer your first question, the essence of the applicant's request is that they be allowed to increase to the 210. If you'd like Mr. Sittner to provide any further explanation of why that's necessary, they do have a set of construction drawings in plan check right now. It's well progressed to the city's plan check process. They would just need to add the modification to those plans, tearing down the existing, I think it's a home that's been converted to some classroom space, so that would be torn down and converted to an additional 6-space carport. And the upper portion of that would become part of an open, and there's a drawing of it in the attachment.
Okay, and let me double check, pardon me, Michael. So he's trying to get, how many more students?
60.
60 more students, so the possibility of having
210.
at least, at the most, 60 more cars coming through there a day, or if they have 2 kids, maybe a little less, 40, 50 cars.
Well, the traffic study, it's essentially, it's almost right. The traffic study identified, I believe it was 52 additional trips that would be caused by the increase from 150 to 210. So that's over the course, say, of an hour. It would be an additional car per minute. So there will be additional traffic that would be associated with the increased enrollment, no doubt.
Was there already an analysis of the parking and traffic management about this area?
This is the most updated study. There may have been a study prior. Mr. Sittner probably knows more about that, but this is the most updated analysis.
Okay.
Can Can Mr. Sittner talk about, because from what I understand, they're demoing an existing building with 4 classrooms, but not replacing it with addition, where are you relocating the 4 classrooms that are being demoed? If you're increasing enrollment, I guess
We're
that's my
actually
question.
removing 4 classrooms with this, so we'll be constructing 10 and removing 4, so there'll actually only be a net increase of 6.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm back to 50 more cars in that area, and so in coming up that road within an hour or so of a time, both in the morning and in the afternoon. And the only thing is with the increased parking and with the redesign, that the hope is it comes up, but then it comes up and it goes quickly through. But it's still 50 cars.
It is.
52.
As I'm sure you deal with in almost every application, there are some trade-offs. And, we moved forward with our construction drawings and finalizing our financing with the approval from last year.
Right.
And the bank came back to us and said, you need to have a higher enrollment. You've got people waiting for us to support this expensive a project. We're on a hillside. There are some 36 or 38 piers required in the foundation. The costs are high. So, I mean, if we could have just built exactly what's already been approved and be able to improve Thiers, we'd have a win-win without any additional compromise of some additional cars. But we can't get our financing to accomplish that unless we can satisfy that there's the revenue to support that higher loan amount. It's a trade-off. I mean,
So I guess I would ask, and it's on behalf of the neighbors, is that however you set up, and you've set up the drop-off, that it be very streamlined so that it quickly, hopefully, goes through. And with the letters, let's hope that people are going to be more courteous to the neighborhood. And I guess that's what,
we'll certainly be working on that, both in the interim and the long term. Once we have the long drop-off area and the large queuing area, I absolutely believe that's going to solve the problem and that there won't be any queuing down into where there are driveways.
okay.
But between now and having that finished, we're going to have to work very closely to be sure that people aren't being inconvenienced and trying to figure out some way that we can move some or, maybe make some interim parking available on the vacant land that's nearby or something like that.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Thank you for your time. Okay, so we're going back to number 3, and it recommends that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council the following recommendation to adopt the findings as outlined herein. I'd like to have a motion,
I
please.
so moved. So moved.
Okay, second?
A second.
Or that's, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
To go to voting.
Oh, okay, now we'd like to do a vote.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Satori,
Yes.
Pacheco,
Yes.
Proano.
Yes, thank you so much. Now, recommend that the City Council affirm the environmental assessment and recommend that the City Council approve use permit UPR 619-14071 and the design and review DR 1119-14321, subject to the conditions of approval outlined herein. A motion, please?
So moved.
Very good.
Second?
Okay, a motion with the roll call, right?
Roll call. You're right.
I thought we didn't.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call. That's what it says.
Villanueva, Satori,
Yes.
Pacheco,
Aye.
Proano.
Aye. Very good. Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the second.
When it is going to the city council?
This will go to the city council on the 13th of January.
January.
Okay, so just what?
13th of January. Very good.
Next
Thank you.
year.
Next year, 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so our second item is the general plan amendment, GPA 918-13666, zone change ZC 918-13662, design review, DR 918-13665, mitigated negative declaration CEQA 918-13664, 122-unit apartment building, an automated lift car barn on a 3.9-acre site at 699 Ceremony Boulevard, APN 091-230, and Melissa, is that correct? Morales, Associate Planner, and you'll be,
We don't have.
he's trying. You'll be speaking about this?
I will.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's nice to finally meet you.
Thank you.
And everyone here tonight. Unfortunately, we won't get to see the presentation, but I'll try to do my best to give you a clear picture as to what's being proposed. So this is for the Jefferson Union High School District Faculty and Staff Housing Project, which is located at 699 Ceremony Boulevard. As far as where it is, it's on the Serramonte Del Rey campus. It's approximately 3.3 acres for the main project area, and then the total project area is about 3.9 acres if you include an existing parking lot. Some background on this project. JUHSD has approached the city with this proposal because they're in need of affordable housing or affordable rental housing to attract and retain teachers and staff. The district staff will have a presentation afterwards, and they'll speak a little bit more on that topic. And this project was funded through Measure J funding, which basically authorized some money to go into these types of projects for the district. The project is located at the northwest corner of the Serramonte Del Rey campus. It's surrounded by mostly residential neighborhoods, and it's currently a student parking lot. And let's see. So for this project, the applicant is proposing a 4-story apartment building. It's a U-shaped, and it is surrounding a central courtyard. There are 122 units proposed, 55 one-bedroom units, 61 two-bedroom units, and 6 three-bedroom units. The maximum height is 48 feet and 55 feet inclusive of a roof stair enclosure to gain access to the roof. There is also an automated lift car barn, so it's sort of like a car shelter, and there's a puzzle lift system that's going to be installed inside that will provide 78 spaces. The commissioner should be aware that there is an error in the staff report. It's actually 78 spaces in the car barn, not, I think it said 64, but the total is accurate in the staff report. And the project does satisfy the open space requirement. It provides way more than is required. It includes play areas, seating, and barbecue cooking areas. And lastly, the project involves the relocation of Campus Drive. So it will remove the current Campus Drive road and move it to the entrance of the eastern parking lot, which is also kind of like an entryway, but it's just an entrance rather than a road. As you will see in attachment B, that's where the project plans are. You'll see there's a full site plan, floor plans that show all 4 of the levels of the building, as well as the landscape plan, elevations, and really nice renderings that the district was able to provide, as well as elevations and what the car barn is going to look like. It will match the architecture and the color scheme of the proposed building. As for parking, the city determined that the entire campus, including the residential structure, requires 375 spaces, and the residential use itself would require 217. But the district has provided a parking analysis to evaluate how much parking is really needed on the campus. There are several uses that operate on a weekday basis versus a weekend and weeknight basis. And as a result of the analysis, they are now proposing 310 spaces. which is 183 spaces dedicated to the residential use and 127 spaces for all the other uses on the property. It should be noted that the public school uses are not required to comply with the parking requirements, so they were excluded from the study. The analysis concluded that the 310 parking spaces was sufficient for the project. The analysis also takes what they call the opening day snapshot, which is what they expect the uses to be and the number of parking spaces available when the building starts occupancy. So it's not what's currently there, but what they anticipate will be there. And if there are any parking issues that would arise, there has been a condition of approval that requires a parking analysis or additional parking if there are any issues. And like I mentioned before, this project does require design review. It's a contemporary design. There's a courtyard. They've tried to achieve a more residential look with their bay windows and trellises. There's a lot of facade articulation with the siding and the material. And like I said before, the car barn does match the apartment building, just so that it's a smooth-looking development of the site. As for the affordable housing plan, the city requires that 10% of the rental units be available to households at or below 70% of the area median income in San Mateo County. The district will be providing at least 12, and they can speak a little bit more as to how they plan on implementing that. Let's see. Lastly, we had a consultant prepare an environmental assessment, which is the initial study, and it was determined that we could move forward with a mitigated negative declaration. We are currently in the public review period for that document, which will be ending on December 23rd. And I don't remember which attachment it is, but the mitigation measures are included in the report as an attachment. The findings are also listed in the staff report. If you'd like me to go over any one of them, I can do that as well. But in conclusion, staff recommends that the Planning Commission forward the following recommendations to the City Council, which is to adopt the findings, affirm the environmental assessment, and then approve all the entitlements associated with the project. Okay. The district would also like to make a presentation. Unfortunately, we are not able to put up the PowerPoint, but if you'd like to come up to the podium.
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you, Andy Lee, Board President, Jefferson Union High School District. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to present a little bit about what we're planning to do with our site. Let me just open with a quick quote. Public schools can play a significant role in the general improvement of their respective communities and can operate as a major platform for enhancing child welfare in the community. Being able to retain, recruit, and train our teachers and staff is essential to effective public schools in our community. And this particular project will allow us to house nearly 25% of our staff in below market rate housing here in our community. You know the location and the schools that are part of our district, and the commute times will be drastically reduced for many of our staff who do choose to live here. And when we did a couple of years ago, when we had a feasibility study and surveyed our staff, we discovered that 35% of the staff actually said that they would be leaving our district due to housing concerns, housing cost concerns. And as it is, we already suffer from a 20% turnover. So this is a way to be able to maintain and keep our staff. And so we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to present this and to be able to hopefully be breaking ground on this in the very near future. And I'll open it up to some of our staff who want to present a little bit more about the project.
Who is Mr. Ken Klebanov?
Ken.
Oh, nice to meet you, sir. That's okay.
We don't have a further formal presentation other than these initial comments, but we have the full consulting team of our architects and landscape architects that are here available to answer questions and go into any detail that you'd like.
I have a lot of questions, that's why. Well, Madam Chairman, first, I understand the purpose of which is regarding the Measure J, which is, you're allotted 33 million just to undergo this project, is that true?
Yes,
And the purpose of which is to see to it that to attract and to retain quality teachers in this area. Is that also one of the objectives?
yes.
Well, I admire that kind of objective, Your Honor. And besides, 122 units that will be built in that area, it's a top dollar area. And I really agree that we should retain and attract more quality teachers, especially in this area. Because education to me is, I give always premium education to myself, to my children, wherever we can afford really, whether you go to Harvard or Columbia or what, for as long as. But here, at least we can attract more teachers, good teachers, and high quality, a high caliber teacher that can really stay here. Because even in this area, public safety or public health, sometimes they go outside the city already because they cannot afford really to stay here. That is why I really acknowledge this and I applaud this kind of project that we have, affordable housing for good and high caliber teachers. So to me, I don't have any objection. In fact, I encourage the city. The city of Daly City is too small, but still we can still attract people really to stay here with us. And that is why, to me, 4 floors, we could make it 8 floors, if possible. Yeah, honestly, because we have this is small city, and yet we can try to accommodate everybody. And it looks like even the parking space is modern. I have seen this in Singapore and Japan, automatic lift car barn, which can accommodate a lot of cars. So you don't have to complain. Neighbors will not be complaining here. So that's my preface.
It's true.
Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I really, and I would just like to ask is, when I hear, less rent and all this, in reality, a lot of times, and I'm not saying in this project, you still go, that's low. We know what the prices are in Daly City, and the last time I checked, which I was very surprised, is it's not just Daly City. It's the same price in Menlo Park in San Jose. I don't know when that happened. I mean, I'm shocked. So, and if you're checking across the bay now, and many of you know this, is going to say the same thing, the prices are just about as high now. So it's blanketed. And so that is a huge shame, but that's another story that's another meeting. So with this $33 million that Measure J gives us potentially, is that going to be enough for this entire project, or we're going to have to get funding somewhere else?
There will be a certificate, we'll be taking out a certificate of participation for the balance of the project.
Okay, which is how much?
The project right now slated to pencil in around $61 million.
So half of the project?
Right.
Okay, so my other question is with regards to rent. So compared to what the going rate is for a one-room in someone's house, like at $1,300 or something crazy that you see on Craigslist, what are we looking at for the teachers?
We are targeting 50% below market rate.
50%, very good. So, and that would maintain, it wouldn't like balloon up in a few years or anything like
The
that?
hope would be to be able to sort of maintain that over time.
Maintain it.
Right.
Great.
The fact that we passed the bond measure
Right.
for $33 million actually helps us attain that.
Very good. So, next question. I know that there's housing on the campus in San Mateo. That housing, is my understanding, when I visited it, it was just set for someone to go in 3 years, save money, and then they help them to to go. Is this the same type of project, or is this just ongoing, you can live here, just like renting anything else?
Those parameters are still being, those are the parameters we are working on right now, but the
Okay.
likelihood is that there would be a maximum cap in terms of how many years you could live there,
Okay.
with the idea that the savings that's being generated from the reduced rent would go towards, hopefully, a down payment for a future home.
My only concern, and I don't know we have teachers in the room today? Okay. Yay, okay, guys. We love you guys, by the way. We can't have great young adults coming into this world without great teachers, so thank you. My concern is that 50% below market rate is a normal, what I used to consider a normal rate. So how are they, and I don't have numbers, so I don't know, but how are they going to be able to save any money? I mean, you know, because teachers are contract, it's a union contract, right? So you know what they're making. Do you see if it feasible for them to be able to save money? Let's say you have a cap, and I'm making it up, 6 years. So 6 years, they should be able to save X amount of money to go and buy something. How realistic is that?
That's really the big question. One of the things, though, that we are working with, we are working actually with a company that does provide mortgage down payment assistance. And so that's already being offered as a benefit for the staff currently, and that will continue to be there for them for staff who do choose to live in our housing units.
And I believe in the San Mateo College, where they have this actual housing, and many of you probably know this. It's my understanding, like I said, when we did the tour, if I recall correctly, you had staff working with the teachers as they're going so that they're able to be on track to save money to move and keep going. Is that something you're also?
That's something that we are definitely discussing.
Okay.
So what type of financial planning opportunities we could provide in addition to the mortgage down payment assistance.
Because if not, after the time and they don't have it, they're out in the street. So, and there's no way they're going to make up.
Right. And so those are the challenges that we are still working through now.
Okay, very good. So that's something that is in the works. Okay, I'm sorry, that's probably a little more than you probably thought I was going to ask, but.
No, all valid
that-
questions.
Okay, very good.
You know, Madam Chairman, I'm really flabbergasted about this because if we can increase the floors, like could be 7 to 8 feet, which is the maximum in Daly City, I'll be happy about it. You know, you talk about dimes and dollars here. You know, if you talk about the national defense, one bump can cost 50 million. You know, sometimes it really bleeds my heart to discuss about this. But that's how the way it goes. That's how our system goes. But if we can probably, because that place is really a top dollar, so if we can increase the flooring, to me, if we can still, Madam, Your Honor here from the planning, if there is a way to really to increase the floors, because
I agree. If you're already going to build, why not go up a couple
make it
floors?
to the hill, to 7 to 8 feet? This is the maximum. Why not? And you can make a lobby for more money for this.
Well, I mean, then you can help more people.
Especially for the teachers.
Absolutely. I think, you know, it's funny you would actually be saying that because when we first embarked on this a couple of years ago, we actually started off fairly small. And it was in speaking with the community college district that they told us that they suggested we go build for anticipated need.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have 122 units, but I'm heartened to hear that you would love to see us go much higher.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if we have anything to do with it, but couldn't you go to just, you know, a few more floors? So, okay, so you've got, how many floors right now?
4.
4, and you've got 122. So if you went up, what's 2 more floors, another 20 million? I mean, I don't know. I mean, who would
Take
know?
advantage of the opportunity there, the place.
Hi, I'm Kalima Salahuddin. I'm the Vice President of the Jefferson Union High School District.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to answer some of the questions, we did start out much smaller.
We
started
understand.
out much smaller, and we've scaled up. The other thing is this is just a first phase in development, so some of the things that you're talking about, that's down the line. We're looking at to do those things, and we'll be back in front of you with future plans on more development of that
Well,
area.
because of the foundation, the moment you have a higher floors, the foundation must be built into the right floors. That's what I'm
Right.
talking about.
Right, and so to build to scale here, with the amount of money that we have in the bond, plus with the COP, if we build any higher, that will do what you're afraid of, which will kick our rent out of the 50% BMR.
Unless you
So
can
we
get
are
more
kind
money.
Yeah, we're kind of right in the pocket right here with the scale that we've chosen. Also, one of the things that could additionally throw the rate up is if we don't fill all the units. And so we were responding to the need of our teachers and our staff, because it's not just our teachers, it's also our staff that are moving in here, that said that this is something that they will want to do. So I don't want to build units and then they stay empty, and then the rents will help us pay off the loan. If we don't have full capacity, we're not going to be able to pay that loan off.
And I'm sure, may I ask you, I'm sure you did a survey
Yeah.
amongst your teachers, so you
Yeah.
have a percentage already that people said absolutely all.
Right, and so we wanted to, and we built above that, but anything outside of that gets us a little fiscal insecurity, and we want to stay really tightly fiscal secure so that we can make sure that we're full capacity, pay all the rents, and stay within that 50% BMR for an extended period of time.
And I just have a quick question, it's just left field.
Yeah.
If, let's say, and I guess your wheels are rolling on this one, if this works, do you guys have in your mind another location possibly to try to replicate what you're doing here?
So, as with the community college district, which I know this is kind of who we're modeling after, and they did that, some of those decisions were for a future board, and so I don't know if that will be something that I'm deciding on. But one of the things that we benefit from is that we are, we do have other pieces of land that we can look to develop, but it is such a huge monumental shift to just build one development that we're trying to make sure that we focus on this and do it well.
Yes.
And then look to the future.
Very good. Well, we're sorry there's not more money to build up, but
Yeah.
that being said, we totally understand what you're saying here, so thanks for that.
No problem.
Do you guys, I know somebody wants to go home, but are we good? Can I move on to these?
Well,
Or do
Madam
you have a
Chairman,
question? Okay.
I happen to be a businessman also. In case of maintaining the place or the building, you can probably rent it out and get something from economic wherewithal from that building. You don't have to think about vacancy, because you can rent it out for office or for that you can retain.
The law actually is pretty clear that if a school district, if a school district develops,
We are exploring these possibilities
school district
for maintaining
employees,
the
yes.
building. Because what is important here is maintaining the building.
Yeah, I'm sure if you build it, they will come.
Yes.
I'm 100% sure. I would come if it was me. Okay, but thank you. Do you have any comments before we move forward? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I feel like I should shuffle the cards because there's so many. I'm not kidding, guys. And I don't want people to feel bad. Okay, here we go. You ready? So I'm going to ask Bridget Hernandez to come up. Is she still here? Bridget, you are welcome to come up. Organization represented is the IHSD.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So I think one thing that wasn't mentioned in this brief moment was that in constructing this, they're ending the lease of a preschool that is in place at that address. And so I'm here to kind of speak on why our lease should be renewed, or at least to help find Head Start a new location. And so I will introduce myself and kind of explain why my experiences might highlight on why Head Start should have a location in Daly City. So my name is Bridget Hernandez, and I am a product of Head Start, the preschool that would be no longer there. And so I would like to just discuss on why preschool is really important. I know we've been talking about foundations, right, of a building, and I understand how important housing is and all of that, but we should also focus on foundation of education, right? I know I heard a lot of you mention the importance of education and why we're doing something like this, but ultimately, education can start as early as preschool, and so I just want to attest to the importance of the preschool that would no longer be in place. So I was a student of Head Start for 2 years. My parents are immigrants from El Salvador, and their first stop here was Head Start, actually. And so I am, just kind of fast forwarding into elementary and middle school and high school, right? That foundation that this preschool provided me, I was the top of my class. I was always on the honor roll. I took pride in being one of the few students of color in these classes. And so that foundation of the preschool really allowed me to dream big, right? Of course, that's what we're thinking here, dreaming big. We're making big goals for the community, but also we should be focusing on the students, right? And so if we fast forward, I went to Dominican University of California. I received the highest merit scholarship. I graduated from that class cum laude with departmental honors. I'm currently a graduate student at the University of San Francisco, getting my master's in school counseling. And so, of course, I understand the importance of education. I understand why this project is great, but ultimately I just want to attest to the importance of preschool and how, taking away that place would then prevent from people like me sharing these stories. And so, challenging educational inequities and stereotypes and deficit theories about low socioeconomic populations of color hasn't been easy, but I think reflecting on my foundation of education and what that preschool provided me, of course, it is of utmost importance that that was in place for me and my family. And so I'm standing here in front of you just to attest to the services that this nonprofit does for students and families. And so I understand that there's a lot of politics to what's happening here. And so if we want to talk about wealth.
1 second, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sorry, no, it's my fault. I didn't make an announcement. We give 2 minutes for people to speak. That's my fault.
Okay.
But I'm hearing what you're saying is that you're in a location. What I'm thinking right away is usually when there's a project or if a business needs to be relocated, have you guys taken that into consideration to assist them in finding another location? And if that's the case, and totally, I understand, I think Head Start's great. I'm sure my colleagues here feel the same way, all of us in the room. But let's find out if there's something in the works, if you don't mind.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah, no
speaking.
problem.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I didn't make that. Oh, I'm sorry. So hold that thought. Hold the thought, because I'm going to take all the comments, and then you'll give us the information I'm hoping I want to hear. Okay, good. I'm sorry. And Bridget, thank you. I appreciate you getting up and speaking, and I'm sorry. Yes. And I apologize that I didn't make that announcement. That little red buzzer's going to go off at 2 minutes. So say, if there's many of you, choose a part of what you're all going to say and just keep adding to it. That way we don't lose your important message, okay? So the next person I'm going to call up is Moana Lupe. Come on. So again, she's here representing IHSD.
Thank you.
And that buzzer will go off,
All right.
just so you know.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome.
All right. So I'm going to read it off so that way it could be, my 2 minutes could fit. Blessed evening, Daly City Planning Commission. I am Moana Lupe, who is a former parent, and I'm humbly serving as Family and Community Engagement Coordinator with the Institute for Human and Social Development. I'm also a Daly City resident. Excuse me, gotta go. I stand here to share my experience as a former parent in this program. I was enrolled in the Early Head Start program in 2004 with my eldest child, who is now 20. I know I look 21. My twins who are 18, and my youngest, who is 15 now. They've all been in this program. This program has helped my family in so many ways. My husband was moving from job to job, trying to find a way to provide for our family and remain in this area. We were living under the federal poverty line, which is very low, so we were qualified for the CalWorks assistance. While at the Human Services Agency office, I took an application for this program. And I'm gonna get teary-eyed. I submitted it, and not long after, got a call saying that my children are going to be coming in. So yay, let me skip because I have a lot. Teaching staff, home-based staff, all the staff there helped my family to where we are today. And the services and the quality of services that are offered at this program is awesome. I've served at the ceremony site about 10-plus years now, and I've seen so many families that I can identify with come through there and be successful in what they do. Bridget's just one of our testimonies, right? But my family is another testimony. And I came back to this agency to give back as well to the community and the people that are around this community. And I'm going to stop.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. I'd like to invite Barbara Donnelly to come up. She's also with IHSD. Barbara, welcome.
I just want to say that I'm from IHSD. I'm also a former parent and a former student of Head Start. I oversee the ceremony site at this time. I feel that we're not just a preschool, but we are a quality preschool, that we service the children and the families, so we service the whole family. And I think it would be a very dishonor if we were displaced and not be a part of Daly City anymore. And I think it's very important that we are, because it does help the community and the children, the families, everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there two Bridgets, or did you fill out two cards, Bridget?
I only filled out one.
No, I think I think your friend did that for you. Okay, so I'm trying to, I think it might be better if we just go on the same run. Jennifer P-I-F-E-L-E-T. I'm sorry. P. Filetti. Welcome. The baby could come. So cute. Welcome. Yes.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm also here for IHSD, and we're here in force to show our support, our love for the city of Daly City, and specifically for our ceremony site. Some background to this is our site is currently on the Ceremony Del Rey campus. So it is the school district land, and the federal government actually, through IHSD, purchased portables and installed them on the land. And the proposed project would be moving our land, and you heard that our lease has not been renewed. And so that's why we're here, just to express our desire to stay and to serve the community. We are the sole Head Start provider in the county, and this is the only site in Daly City. So if this site closes, then, and we're not able to find a site somewhere else, the Head Start would leave Daly City, which would be a travesty for our children, especially because our program's mission is to serve the lowest income children in the county, which we know from research, children who grow up in poverty already start kindergarten a year behind their peers. High-quality programs like ours mitigate that risk because we have, lower teacher-to-child ratios. We have professional development. We have a research-based curriculum. We have stringent requirements for teachers. Those elements make a high-quality early childhood program. And again, we love the city of Daly City. We love the community. It's the community that we serve currently, and our desire is just to continue to serve the community. So what we would urge the commission to do would be to approve a plan that would support both the goals of Jefferson Unified High School District, which we applaud for addressing teacher housing shortage, and the mission of IHSD, which is to serve the lowest income children in the community.
And Jennifer, real quick, how many students are enrolled in Head Start right now?
60 currently.
So 60. So that's pretty much an average of what they serve? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to invite, it looks like Pam Campos from Build Up 4Cs. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening,
Good evening.
members of the Planning Commission. My name is Pamela Campos, and I work with Build Up for San Mateo County's Children. This is a county-wide initiative designed to grow and improve the supply of childcare and preschool facilities in all areas of the county. We work with leadership from the 4Cs, the Child Care Coordinating Council, First Five of San Mateo County, Silicon Valley Community Foundation, the County Office of Ed, members of the Board of Supervisors. We've been working towards reducing the severe gap in childcare, which is felt by numerous families across the county. So our work began in 2006 when the Silicon Valley Community Foundation commissioned a preschool needs assessment report from Bryan Economics, which found at the time San Mateo County was experiencing a shortage of almost 11,000 early childcare and learning spaces. Was experiencing a shortage of almost 11,000 early care and learning spaces for children ages 0 to 4. If left unaddressed, this would be impacting almost 14,000 children and their families by 2025. Of these identified in need for spaces, it was estimated that nearly 5,000 were families who received subsidized care, a population whom IHSD Serramonte Head Start has been serving for the past 22 years through their full-day and 2 part-day Head Start programs. Reports from Bryan Economics also documented that the #1 obstacle to increasing childcare spaces in the county is barriers in accessing real estate or finding available sites suitable for children's programming due to funding and allocation, and this is a problem that now IHSD Serramonte Head Start is facing. Early care and learning spaces are an integral piece of community infrastructure interrelated with housing and transit, yet it's a topic that's rarely addressed due to its lack of incentives, funding, and visibility, combating this crisis which affects the youngest and most vulnerable members of our community. With distinct municipal zoning codes across cities, a scarcity of available spaces, and limited expertise in the field, among other challenges, we believe that planning for childcare in a thoughtful manner is a way to combat the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. David Fleischman, also from the 4Cs. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Good to be here. Thank you, Public. Thank you, Jennifer. And Pam. I couldn't be happy to be following these two people. My name is David Fleischman. I'm the Executive Director of the Child Care Coordinating Council of San Mateo County. I'm a member of the Child Care Partnership Council, and I'm on the Leadership Committee of Build Up for San Mateo County's Children. So you have an affordability problem here in the county and here in Daly City. It's largely expressed in terms of housing, where its effects are felt dramatically, but childcare is also a very big factor in the affordability problem. I'm sure you're all aware and have seen the articles of the very high cost of childcare. This project is amazing, so teacher housing couldn't be more important. It's absolutely at the nexus of those two issues, the housing problem and the shortage of childcare and the workforce issue. So couldn't be a greater vision and project. More floors, if there weren't such issues, would be phenomenal, but there are issues. The unfortunate problem with this plan is that it does displace Head Start. 60 children, many families, the highest risk, the lowest income. As Jennifer basically said, early childhood experiences are the biggest predictor for success in school and life. There's nothing more important in a child's life, especially one who is from disadvantaged families in terms of economics, other things. There's nothing more important in terms of this child's outcome, period. So the request, which is going to be, you've heard already, is going to be made from many of us here, is to try to come up with a plan that accommodates Head Start in Daly City. Many other cities are, through Build Up and others, are taking this on. Daly City has the opportunity to be a leader, such as some of your other cities. I think you should take that opportunity, have a meeting with IHSD, with 4Cs, with Build Up. We are all here to try to come up with a better solution. If it was an easy answer, we wouldn't have this meeting. But we will help you find a better answer to
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have Mohammed Alasawi. Was I okay on your name? I didn't. Okay, very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you are also with IHSD.
I'm still, yeah, my daughter's still.
Okay, very good. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm a parent still with the IHSD. I'm an immigrant too. I came here in the United States 2014. Had no paper, no nothing, just an immigrant. And IHD helped me a lot, me and my wife, and she saved my life basically. With low income, nothing, I can't do anything here in the city or like, so they took me in, took my daughter and got an opportunity to go work, and my wife go to school, and I've been with them 3 years, and I'm so blessed they are here. And I'm speaking not just me, I'm pretty sure and 100% positive, not just them, it's the whole family, and everybody is there, they feel the same, exactly how I feel. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I'm getting very emotional. I'm just really, this is intense. Sorry. Excuse me.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you're very emotional. You know, I never thought, but I know that I empathize with all the organization that will be displaced in this location. But you know,
Thank you.
what we can do is you can enter into a quid pro quo with the Jefferson Union District, wherein you can be accommodated in the future probably. Because please, because I remember the lady, the vice president, saying that there can be a vacancy, possible vacancy. So why don't you accommodate in the future, probably in the future? This is a win-win situation for all,
Yeah.
wherein you can accommodate in one room or bigger room or whatever, based on the plan that you have now. So everybody can be, in the future, can be accommodated also. Because this is a huge, that's why we are trying to encourage a bigger project. So in case there can be a place wherein you can house them, like preschool, those Head Start, those children that will be displaced. Why can't you just have to enter into an agreement with the Jefferson Union District? Because this is the only way we can salvage those projects that is going on now.
Right? I mean,
Thank you very much. That's my observation. Your
So,
Honor.
Madam Commissioner, I just wanted to speak. So as also a former Head Start parent, like I totally benefited as a single parent, and like had my eldest son was part of that, Head Start program. It definitely helped him and helped me get my career back on. Totally empathize with it. I definitely understand the importance of like teacher housing and then trying to, find the middle ground. So I was looking at the plan. It looks like there is a daycare that's proposed in the facility, but it's unclear to me. Is that a private? It's not going to be part of Head Start. How many children will it accommodate?
It's not a daycare, it's just like a playroom.
Oh, okay. So, pardon me? Yeah, so, thank you.
Sorry.
We got to get back on track. Thank you, because that got me, okay, you guys are killing me here, okay. But we're going to, what I've been told is, because there's many left for you guys to speak, but may I ask a silly question to you, is that would it be, and I'm sorry I don't have your name, but would whatever she has, say something to give everybody a little hope that the Head Start already has a home, instead of it sounding like they're going to get kicked out in the street? I mean, I know we're doing this, but can she fill out a card and tell me?
Well, so typically, what we would do is we would complete the public hearing, and then that becomes sort of, additional questions may have arisen, and so then we can refer some of those either to staff or to the applicant to answer. So
Got it.
we'll continue the public
Got it.
hearing. The commissioners may want to write down a series of questions they may have, or if they've
Got
heard
it.
the audience ask questions that they would like answered by staff or
Got it.
the applicant.
Okay.
Keep track of those.
Okay.
We'll take in the public comment, and then we can deliberate on the item.
Right, that's all. I was just hoping that whatever she has to say might make everybody feel better before I hear more stories and I start weeping up here, because this is what's going to happen.
That's
And
why
this
you
is all
speak.
sincere. I have too soft of a heart, so,
Okay.
and my brother went to Head Start, so I love you guys too. So this is what we'll do. It looks like I have 3 more from IHSD, and then we can move in, 4 maybe? Yeah, I got 4 for that. So let's see if we can move forward on that, and then I have a lot. Here we go. So 2 minutes, and here we go. Elaine Francisco. Please, welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Elaine Francisco. I'm a recently retired special ed teacher and previous employee of IHSD San Mateo. In the late 90s, I was assigned to be the teacher director of Head Start Tremonti. I worked hard to open the site by collaborating with the fire department to meet their requirements. It took us almost a year after construction just to meet the requirements of the department. We had a long, diverse list of families who waited patiently for the site to open. And from then on, Serramonte Head Start has been one of the most sought-after childcare center for low-income families in Daly City. Please note that this center offers a full-day program for working families, which is very scarce around our community. Many families I worked with do not have transportation, and they walk from the apartment buildings right across the center. Right now, I'm sure you already know that we have 2,875 children ages 2 to 4 years old needing care in San Mateo County. For preschool, the supply for childcare is 1,604, but 1,459 childcare centers are still needed to meet the demand. These figures were from the San Mateo County Childcare Assessment of 2017. I'm sure the Jefferson High School District has a valid reason for planning to terminate the list of IHSD, but I'm standing before you right now to think of the children and families that will be displaced by whatever decision we would come out tonight. I would like to suggest that you spare IHSD's classroom if you have to demolish the whole area, just so we can still have the much-needed childcare center here in Daly City. Needless to say, our community is highly affected by too many economic issues because we live in one of the most expensive metro areas in America, but we need to prioritize and support children and families, especially those who are most vulnerable. They should be our priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Kitty Lopez. Kitty, are you here? Welcome, Kitty. You're from First Five?
I'm not Kitty, but I am reading a letter from First Five, from Kitty Lopez.
From Kitty?
From Kitty.
You're reading, you're...
I'm Angel Barrios.
You're Angel, you're not Kitty, but that's Kitty.
This is Kitty.
Go for it. Here we go. Okay.
I'm here for Kitty Lopez, the executive director. The
Okay.
First Five San Mateo County strives to create conditions that will allow all young children in San Mateo County to prosper socially, emotionally, and economically. We believe that our work must build connections between many systems that serve young children and their parents and caregivers. The Institute for Human Social Development is one of our community partners that prioritizes the San Mateo's youngest children, and we understand that their lease with Jefferson High School District may not be renewed. IHSD is committed to providing the highest quality comprehensive early care and education and family services to support the school readiness of each child. They've had a Head Start program with the district serving 60 children in Daly City for over 20 years. And according to the Beyond Economics, who conducted an early learning facilities needs assessment for San Mateo County still needs about 11,000 child care facility spaces. Because of this need, Build Up for San Mateo County's Children Initiative was formed. The IHSD's Head Start program is vital in the community. They also serve a high number of homeless families, foster care children, CPS, and at-risk families, and children with disabilities, and are as part of the Big Lift initiative. IHSD has demonstrated their values are aligned with First Five San Mateo County's mission, which is to promote positive outcomes for children, families, and community. I encourage the Daly City's Planning Commission to explore other potential sites with the district for IHSD. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me. And sincerely, Kitty Lopez, Executive Director from First 5 San Mateo County.
Thank you very much. I am sorry if I mess up this name. Manifu Anoi? My apologies.
Good evening,
Welcome.
Commissioners. Good evening, community. Manufo Anwai. I'm a school board member. I'm not here tonight as a school board member. I sit on the state as a co-chair of the Closing Achievement Gap. I'm not here as that. Tonight, I'm here as a member of the community, while I also work as the Health and Nutrition Services Manager for IHSD, who is the sole Head Start provider in San Mateo County. But before I move on, I think it's important to applaud the commendable efforts by my colleagues on the Jefferson Union High School District Board. We support the project. It's not that we don't support the project. And I have been asked not to be so blunt because sometimes I am. The reality is there's conversations that we have not been a part of. This community will be impacted if Head Start does not remain in Daly City. And the ask is that we revisit this communication. That is the ask tonight. It is not to stop the project. It's to ask that as a valid partner providing quality, comprehensive early learning, which we have heard tonight the data informs, all we're asking is that for over 30 years, we have been an invested partner in this city and the community. Get Healthy San Mateo talks about how we need to create safe and healthy communities. All of our families, if not most, walk to this site because they live in the area. So what is happening is that we feel that inclusion needs to be revisited, and that's with no disrespect. We understand that there's a timeline on this project. We understand that there may be a disconnect in communication. So we step forward to ask, can we revisit the communication? That is what we're asking for tonight. It may be unconventional that we're asking you when the land belongs to JUHSD, but the reality is this is a community issue. Every child that has come through Head Start has come to JESD, has also gone on to JUHSD, and continues to thrive as contributing member of Daly City. So the ask is to rehash the conversation with the partners that are involved, because Head Start elevates every child it touches. It's not just 60 children, it's 60 families. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, did I just see Angel Barrios? Welcome back.
Welcome back. Good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioners. My name is Angel Barrios. I'm the Executive Director for the Institute for Human and Social Development. And I am just so moved today, actually, this evening, to see our families, our staff, our community partners here, and, to really, explain and share the reasons why we're here this evening. As you heard, we are the federal grantee for Head Start and Early Head Start. We're also a subcontractor for state preschool and subcontract with the County Office of Education, and we're the largest grantee for the Big Lift. We operate 2 classrooms serving 60 children at 699 Ceremony Boulevard on the northwest side of the campus. This has been our home for the past 20-plus years. And we, again, we are requesting that we remain in conversation, that we stay on the location, at the current location, and also be in conversation with planning with the school district. We've had a strong partnership, and we've served over 1,200 children to help prepare them for school success. I do want to share that the Office of Head Start has a federal interest in the modular building. So we lease the land, but the federal government gave us the funds to purchase the modular buildings. And over the course of the 20-plus years, we've invested about $1.3 million of federal dollars and state dollars to upkeep and maintain the facility, purchase educational supplies, make improvements, and pay for rent. Annually, we invest about $575,000 each year from Head Start and State Preschool and Big Lift to serve the 60 to 80 families each year. Without a renewed lease for ceremony site, IHSD will be forced to reduce its program slots or search additional funding to secure and renovate a replacement facility. And that's what's very costly for the program, that if we need to move, we would have to find funding to actually dispose of the building or find a replacement facility, which we currently don't have. We're requesting to remain at our current location and work in partnership with the Jefferson Unified School District. We want to be included, and we want to be included. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Monica Casey and Group, JUHSD AFT 1481.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, I'm
welcome.
Monica Casey. I'm actually going to speak for Joelle Trong Vargas, which is a teacher at Westmore High School. I said group because there's many of us here, and so some of us are going to just speak a little bit. So this is from Joelle. My name is Joelle, and I have been a committed employee of JUHSD since spring 2008. Given the economic burden of the rising cost of living that has plagued the Bay Area, coupled with being historically underfunded, this district compared to the rest of the peninsula, JUHSD and AFT 1481 has worked to try to alleviate these situations. Though we've had periods of raises here and there throughout the years, the cost of living continues to rise. Plain and simply put, it has become harder to live in this area. Many of my colleagues are forced to commute from the homes in far East Bay, where housing is more affordable, while others have left or considered leaving the district altogether. I'm not separate from the statistics, where I have left this district once before to pursue a more lucrative job opportunity. And I came back to JUHSD because I love teaching. But I also do want to remain in the area for years to come. And year after year, I met with this interesting contradiction. How long can I do this? Luckily, one proactive response that has surfaced is this option of workforce housing. It would be granted to committed teachers and staff, not just teachers, below market value to keep them here in the community that they directly serve every day. This joint effort, AFT and the district office, has made a huge step in the right direction in providing teachers and staff and their families and children with new scale housing, thus providing them with some relief to the housing crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry, putting notes. I'd like to invite Andy Lee?
I already spoke.
You already spoke. Oh, you saved everybody a minute. Okay, thank you, 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Sarah Almeida, welcome. JUHSD.
I'm one of the 3 school psychologists that we have in our district. My primary role is working in special education. At this moment, we have a really high turnover, especially among our special education staff. Even myself, I've had to consider leaving the area. A few years ago, I actually interned with Jefferson Union High School District, and once I finished my master's program and was able to I decided to come back and work in the district. There are other neighboring districts that I could be in where I could be paid more, but when it comes down to it, I love my students at Westmore, and I really don't want to have to leave them. I know that a lot of them have just issues, and our staff turnover impacts our students. Every year they're having new faces, new people, and that lack of connection really disrupts our ability to form culture and a sense of community for our students. And hopefully with this kind of housing plan that we have, being able to retain staff and myself, I would love to stay on, even considering as a young educator. I'm part of that $1 trillion student loan debt, and having to balance just the high cost of living and my student loan makes it almost impossible to continue working.
here. But I don't want that to be true.
Thank you so much. Alan Vu? So, welcome. And I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong.
It's Alan Vu.
Vu, I did say it. I said it right. Well, welcome.
So my name is Alan Vu. I am a history teacher at Thornton High School, part of JUHSD. And so I just want to thank the commission for really showing their support for education, both with Head Start as well as with JUHSD. And just, yeah, recruitment and retention has been a really big problem. At Thornton last year, we were supposed to have 2 math teachers on campus. We are a continuation school, so it is a much smaller staff. But we only had 1 teacher for most of the year, and we had to kind of piece it together with long-term subs, bring someone out of retirement to take over for a semester. So it's just really difficult on the staff, on the students not being able to get that proper education. I really do hope that just together, JUHSD and Head Start, we can reach some sort of amicable conclusion. I'm sure Tina has something that will hopefully work for both parties. But it is really heartening to know that the community is really supporting education. And just thank you for your time, for listening to us, and for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Ombre? Welcome.
And thank you, board members, council members. I come here as a teacher. A teacher who's teaching at his alma mater of Westmore High School. So it's always been a dream of mine to be a teacher, but when that dream becomes a reality, you have to face all the things that come with that reality. My partner and I are living in a studio. We have to pay $1,400 a month with a shared kitchen space. So it's been really tough for us just to be able to feel counted in our community. And this housing development would really help us, just to establish ourselves, and for someone who wants to be a homeowner, start a family one day, and not leave this community. I really appreciate your support, and I'm the last person who wants to see anyone displaced. I'm a community member. I care deeply about this community that I grew up in, and I just want to see myself living here and starting a family here and helping the community that I grew up in. So thank you for your time, and I hope you can see how much this housing development will help not just me but many of my teachers in the district.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Handon Morrison?
Hey there.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all here tonight. I'm here as a member of Jefferson High School. I'm an English teacher there. There's not much I really prepared, so speak from the heart and all that, English teacher way. I guess the one thing I can bring is numbers. I might have the numbers a little off, not a math teacher. I believe we have 26 first and second year teachers at Jeff High, which is a large number, and that's not even counting non-teacher staff as well, which I know we also have a large number of. It's a little sad because some of them obviously left due to retirement, but some were just new jobs we needed, but a lot left because they needed more affordable housing elsewhere. And it's a little rough as someone who is not, I'm actually one of the second year teachers. It's rough as a sophomore teacher going in and looking at some of my students that are struggling and thinking, oh, I'll talk to their freshman teacher from last year, and they're gone because they weren't able to stay. So there's not much I can say outside of that, and I would really like to not have to pay like as much as I do to live in an attic anymore. So thumbs up side.
Thank you.
I'm done. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Mike O'Neill, JUHSD. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well, welcome.
I just wanted to say is I work for the Jefferson High School District, and I want each of you who have gone to high school, and there's been a teacher in your life that made a difference, right? And the average teacher has contacts with 210 people a day. So what if you met that teacher in freshman, and in sophomore year, they're gone? Now you've got 210 people, 210 families affected because that teacher had to leave. And you're talking 20 to 30% turnover in in every school, okay? So you're talking an emotional need that these kids establish a relationship with a parent, with a teacher or a staff member, and the next year they're gone. And that's 210 kids contacts a day. And I think you look back at high school, it's one of the most challenging times of your life. And you're sitting there growing yourself, developing yourself, and looking at opportunities. And you need to look at that also. No one disputes how great Head Start is, but there's the other end of the spectrum also. Okay, most of the staff at Jefferson High School District can go work for Sequoia. They get $12,000 per kid. And Jefferson gets 30, 40% less. The paychecks are, you can leave Jefferson and go get a raise of $10,000 to $15,000 a year. This is a needed project to sustain a quality high school district with quality relationships to the 210 kids that teacher touches every day. And I think you need to look at that and balance against another very quality program that's at the other end of the spectrum. But both spectrums need to be dealt with. But in order to move forward to retain and attract a staff, they need this housing, 120 units. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Lenahan? Am I close?
Yeah, that was ready.
All right, welcome, Patty. H-A-U-H-S-D. No worries, don't be nervous, you're just like at home.
I am a van driver and volunteer as a teacher's aide at special ed department at Terra Nova. And I used to own a condo at Crown Colony here. And I worked at United Airlines for 18 years. They closed their office here. I moved to Chicago and sold my condo here, which I regret. Because now that I have two beautiful granddaughters that live here in San Bruno, I can't afford to live here. So I did finally move back here, but it's really expensive, and I'm working 7 days a week to live in a studio apartment that is very difficult. And the bottom line is, my son went to Head Start when it was called Family Service Agency back then, but it's all about money. Their problem is money, our problem is money. You want them to build more units, well, so would everybody everywhere, but it's money. And I know it's a hard choice here, but my needs are affordable housing. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Miss Sharon Murphy, good to see you. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners, and all. So I come here as a parent and representing the Jefferson Council PTA. I'm going to have to cut this short. I didn't realize that we have 2 minutes to speak. As a renter myself, I'm experiencing the same struggles most have in the rising cost of living in our area. I personally know staff members who are holding 2 jobs and sacrificing long commutes so they can continue to teach or stay in our area. A sacrifice I deeply appreciate. As a parent, I have 4 children, 2 of whom already graduated high school in the district. I still have 2 in middle school, and I fear that they will not have the opportunity to have the same level of education that other students from different areas are achieving. In our district area are already facing struggles in retaining or filling open positions right now. How will these struggles be like in the future? As parents, we voice our concerns and we question their future. How long can the staff continue their sacrifices? How will this affect our children and other students' education? All students should have the ability to receive the same level of education and have not to worry about taking class of their choice or a mandatory class required due to the lack of educators. Education is their future, and their teachers are an integral part of their success. As parents, we expect high-quality education, standards of teaching, and prime educators. We simply cannot expect these results if we do not do anything to help find solutions for them to focus on our core mission of education if our employees and our families are concerned about where they live and what they can afford to continue to settle in our community. My bell's about to start, but I completely support this workforce housing for our teachers and our staff.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Miss Victoria, how come I can't say your last name? Magbilang.
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm a parent in both the Jefferson Elementary and Jefferson Union High School districts. I have 2 students. And I just want to say, as someone who has worked hard to advocate for our students and our teachers for many years, I have sincere concerns about the future of our country if we continue on the trajectory that we have of losing teachers. I have seen evidence in both of my kids' schools through the years of teachers leaving often at the last minute, a week before school starts. The district is scrambling to find someone to replace them. And I've seen people that I know who were very dedicated professionals, excuse me, I'm emotional, they're throwing in the towel because they can't handle it anymore. And it's not just here, it's all over the country. I am really concerned about the future for all of us if we can't keep good teachers. Right now, you get the best and the brightest go into things like law, medicine, tech, because it pays well and they get respect. But right now, we kind of have the opposite thing going on with teachers. They don't get paid enough, they can't make a living, the work conditions sometimes can be really difficult, and I was so happy when we passed this. We asked the voters to support giving money to try to do something to make the situation better for our teachers, and when it passed, I was just like, yes, this is so fantastic, I can't believe this. So I don't want to see anything happen to keep this from going through with the mandate that we have gotten from our voters. We promised them that we are going to do something proactive to try to help this teacher crisis, and I'd like to see it continue because I think they have a great plan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys, there better be some good answers here because I usually have to watch a movie to cry this much, and this is not a movie. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. This is huge. So, to first of all, I need to understand. I'm just probably going to speak for all of us. For all of us, I need to understand why a project was started and a location was chosen. The location was chosen on top of Head Start, and I'm hoping someone's going to stand up and say, oh, we have plans, but we forgot to tell them.
So my name's Tina Van Rapphorst. I'm the Associate Superintendent of Business for Jefferson Union High School District.
Welcome, Tina.
Thank you. In August, Dr. Deloria, our superintendent, and I met with all of the tenants at Ceremony Del Rey, and we talked about 2 topics, which I fear have gotten convoluted in what I'm hearing tonight. So we talked with each of the tenants and letting them know that we would have construction that would be starting hopefully in early 2020 on the faculty and staff housing. And secondly, that we were not extending leases beyond December of 2021 because we're looking at what we're doing with the rest of the property. The whole property's in disrepair, we don't have money to keep it up, et cetera, et cetera. And so separately, we talked to them about not extending leases beyond 2021, but that's separate from the faculty and staff housing. The faculty and staff housing is not displacing anyone.
Okay, hold on. So So, and I've seen the place, my grandkids play basketball, and you got to, the cracks and all that fun stuff. So, I mean, I understand that things are looking in disrepair. I totally understand that. What I don't understand is, yet again, and I have the school board, I have the president, I have all of you here, right? Okay. And I understand where you're saying, we're telling everybody this place is not maintained, we've got to maintain it, so by December 2021, no leases are being done. What's happening with Head Start? What's happening with the other programs that are held at that location?
We're giving them 2 years, up beyond 2 years.
That's, to me, I'm sorry, and I'm going to speak for myself, that's not enough. That's not enough. I'm embarrassed if that is what I'm hearing from you all. And that would be all.
I mean, there's a lot more behind this. I just don't know, I'm afraid that this isn't the right venue. The item before the council tonight, or the Housing Commission, is the faculty and staff housing, which is displacing no one.
Well, no, it kind of is.
Displacing no one.
Well,
I think maybe we should review the site
So that's what I'm
plan.
saying.
Okay.
So this is what it sounds like. What it sounds like is people need more information so that they could make a better decision. Is that correct? Everybody.
The location of the development will not be displacing any current tenants of the building. It's sitting in an empty parking lot right now.
Well, that's what I understood. So that's why hearing that I looked at it, it looked like an empty, and then you built it, right? That I did see. So that being said, that's perfect. So the building, just so everyone hears this, the building is not going to displace anyone. What's getting everyone displaced is the location not being maintained? Is that fair?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a bigger discussion about what we're going to do with the rest of the property. We have, as people have been discussing, we have a really tough situation financially for our district. The surrounding districts around us have higher tax bases, and they bring in much more money per student than we do. So no matter how much we raise salaries to till we're, don't have any more money to spend, that's what we want to do. We cannot compete with districts that get 150% of the funding that we get per student. And so our board has been very focused on how they can improve the financial situation of the district without having to.
And I don't want to get too much in the weeds. There are two issues here. There are two separate issues. The issue before you is the workforce housing, which is going to displace no one. We'll be back before you at another time about the other project that we're working on that is in the early stages of development. And that one will possibly displace tenants. But that is not the issue before you tonight. The issue before you tonight.
We do understand that. And all I will say is, of course, holy smoke, okay?
Right.
You've got nobody here, I don't even think on their saying no housing.
Right.
All I would say is, we'll vote on to move it forward if that's what they decide, because I can't make the decision for everybody. But I would say, all I'm asking is that something as important of this, that you guys find the time to work with them.
Absolutely.
Right? Right? I think that's all they're asking. Is that what I'm hearing? Like, speak?
Sorry, with all due respect, there's facts. I just want to add the facts. Head Start has requirements.
Come.
Head Start has
Just real quick.
requirements.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
This is going to be.
information that's being shared that's not factual.
Right.
So it's important to share
One
facts,
second.
facts only.
After this, after this, then
Because it does impede on Head Start saying currently open.
I understand.
Not during housing construction.
I understand. Okay, I understand. So right now, what we're discussing, I know it's getting, so we're going to close the public hearing at this point. Everybody's been heard. What I'm hearing is that the building is on a parking lot, so it's not impeding on Head Start. What I'm also what we're also hearing is that this issue with Head Start is something that's going to have to, is there another department they're supposed to be talking to so that we at least?
They would need to work with the school district. What I would recommend is that the commission consider the development proposal before them this evening. I would suggest that maybe prior to it going to city council, that the school district and Head Start sit down and have their own meeting to talk about the development proposal and what it means for them. The council, if this were to move forward, we would expect this to go to council in January, so they would have well over a month to convene a meeting and kind of talk this out. But the item before the commission this evening is the teacher housing in that
In the parking lot.
area.
In the
Correct.
parking lot. So,
Point of being query,
And again,
Madam Chairman.
the commission is an advisory, so this is actually going to ultimately be put in front of the city council.
Point of
So-
inquiry, Madam Chairman. Am I hearing it right that no one will be displaced on this project? Is that what I'm hearing?
There was a parking analysis done, and if you look at the parking analysis, it's assuming that we had to review the parking requirements as if the building at 699 Serramonte remains active even when the teacher housing is constructed. So the concept is that 699 Serramonte is still active while the teacher housing is active. So that
Okay.
in this proposal, 699 Serramonte remains leased. And the teacher
active.
housing could be built. But what happens in the future phase is at the hands of the school district.
Exactly.
So, and they may have plans that they would
So,
like to.
Madam Chairman, if nobody is going to be displaced, so let's go on with the project. I don't see any legal impediment here. Let's go on. That's all, Madam Chairman.
With all due respect, that's not true. I know people.
Well, that's a debatable.
Not
let-
debatable. It's a federal requirement that we have a playground. Current work is now impeding on that playground. We have to close our doors if we do not have a playground. That was communicated.
Okay, one moment. Michael?
That's facts.
I think we should bring the applicant up to talk about if there's any impacts to the playground.
Thank you.
So our construction manager, Stephanie, has been in contact with someone who's not here today, Joy. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I didn't see her. I didn't see her here. But she and Stephanie have been working on how to ensure that the playground remains viable during the construction phase.
Okay, so,
We can close the.
yeah,
public
it's all been closed. That one was closed. I guess all I'm going to say is that.
hearing. We have not voted on that.
Yeah, we're gonna do our vote, but as a resident of Daly City myself, I'm just going to highly encourage both sides to really consider, because right now, both of you guys are important, right? But you're very important, and you're very important, and you all need to work together, because it's very important for our community. So as a resident, and my children, my grandchildren, my community is here, and I just like many of you. So all I ask personally is that you guys work with them, okay? Please, okay? I thought that other meeting was hard, but this one is tough. Okay, so at this time, we are going to be voting on a building that's in a parking lot. And we are understanding as well that you're going to work with this playground issue, okay? Great, thank you, because then okay. So, recommends that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council the following recommendation: to adopt the findings as outlined herein. May I have a motion?
Wait, clarification.
I did close it. I did close public hearing. I'm sorry, so we do have to have we didn't have a vote on that, so I am sorry. So close the public hearing, we had a motion, and we needed to have a vote. So.
Just a voice vote.
Vote's fine? So all in favor?
Have a second to close the
Second?
public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Sorry, pardon me. Recommends that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council the following recommendation, adopt the findings as outlined herein. I'd like to have a motion, please. And recommend the City Council affirm the environmental assessment and recommend that the City Council approve general plan amendment GPA 918-13666, zone change ZC 918-13662, design review DR 918-13665, mitigated negative declaration CEQA 918-13664, subject to the conditions of approval identified herein. So I need a motion.
Well, before we consider the motion, let us first be clear about this. What are the conditions of approval that we?
Well,
I heard that we are going to see to it that no one will be displaced, as far as, because if we're going this in toto,
which means the
there's
playground.
assurance for this, for that, you know.
So that's the issue. So they're saying that if that playground gets shut down, they're displaced.
I think that's the essence of
Right,
it.
That's the essence of it, right?
What
Correct.
staff is suggesting is that you could move this forward, but advise the applicant that prior to going to council, they have sat down with the
That's what I'm
Head
saying.
Start
Yes, that's what I'm
community to
saying.
discuss the
Yes.
very specific impacts to the playground and if there's any mitigations to that impact, so that by the time it's taken to council, that perhaps there's been some resolve to that issue.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, I implore the various organizations that will be displaced or possibly displaced or affected by this to have a meeting with the district. Otherwise, if it goes to the council and it approved, there you go. So
And
I'm just trying to guide you, because according to Theodore Roosevelt, your voice and your ballot or your vote is like a rifle. It can be used as your character, really to defend what is right and what is for social justice. This is what I'm saying. So I'm guiding you. Have a conference with the Jefferson Union so that you can have satisfied about this. The Planning Commission will not be saying that we just approve this now, because we are about to approve this now, Your Honor.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
say really quickly that there was never an intention to have it come before the council with things unresolved. Our meeting with Head Start in August, and then following up with the conversations between Joy and Stephanie, were the intention of having this all be resolved. Okay.
Yes,
That
so-
is between them.
There's a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I move that we adopt this, Your Honor. Second.
Right, so with the understanding that we're highly, you can add that part?
Right, so all of the conversation and the dialogue that's happened here gets integrated into the report that's sent to council. So clearly, there's a concern by the Planning Commission about the potential displacement to Head Start. That absolutely will be communicated to the council. We will include in the report that we are advising that the school district and the Head Start community have a dialogue about what the potential impacts and if there's any mitigations that could be incorporated into the playground design to continue the operations of that school. All of that will be communicated and forwarded to the city council. So hopefully prior to that, there will be some resolve, but at the public hearing with the council, this item will come forward. Again, the Planning Commission is advisory, so you're not approving anything, you're
That's what I'm
recommending
saying.
approval of
Your
teachers.
Honor, we are quasi-judicial body, recommendatory only. It is the city council that will eventually approve this. But now we are giving you some sort of lead wherein you can be accommodated. Because the moment the city council approves this, then you will, I just said, based on Theodore Roosevelt, you should be like a rifle, that you can use this properly to defend your just, fair, and take in the city. So it's up to you to have a conference with the city council, with the Jefferson School and various organizations here. You band together and see to it that you are united in your stand to get this accommodated in the Ceremony del Rey. Because Ceremony del Rey has been here for almost 1987. They're preparing for this for so long. When I was really talking with, I remember with Mike Creeley, when are you going to improve this? It's too long. Now it's about time that you are not talking. It's about time that we have to move on and improve this place. This is a top dollar place and we need this, really. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Yeah, we just ask that you guys work together. So now we're going to like to take a vote and actually I think I have to read this again. General Plan Amendment GPA 918-13666, Zone Change ZC 918-13662, Design Review DR 918-13665, Mitigated Negative Declaration CEQA 918-13664, subject to the conditions of the approval identified herein.
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, now we have
Roll call.
roll call.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Satori,
Yes.
Pacheco,
Aye.
Proano.
Yes. At this time, we'd like to thank everyone for being here. There's nothing left on the agenda, so we'll be adjourning. Thank you very much.